How am I? I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Today we are hosting Mr. Neil Armstrong, 22nd of January 2005.
Have you got some questions?
Yes. What did you feel like when you first stepped on the moon?
Right. Well, to start with, do you know who I am?
Yes.
Do you know what I did?
Yes.
What did I do that was so famous? Sorry, was it Tom Cow?
Mint.
Oh, Mint, sorry.
The first one was the one on the moon.
The first person, yeah, the first human being to step on the moon. So, sorry, your question was?
What did you feel like when you first stepped on the moon?
What did I feel like? Lots and lots of different emotions. I think I was very excited, but I was also very, very nervous. Do you know why I was nervous? You think why? You think why I might have been nervous about stepping out onto the moon?
It made me like too soft and soft.
Yeah, nobody had ever been onto the moon before. No one had been there, so I was very, very nervous about if, when I put my feet down, if it would be safe. We knew that the temperature was very hot, so I was worried though about if the temperature would be too hot. We wore special suits that had water cooling. They were new water cooling suits, but we didn't know how long the suits would last for, so I was quite scared about what we might find, the temperature, the no gravity, lots and lots of different things. So I was very excited to be the first person to step onto the moon, but I was also really very nervous because when we were planning to go to the moon, we didn't even know if we'd be able to land there. So when we were planning the whole trip, the whole space program, we knew that we'd be able to get into space and orbit the moon. We knew we'd be able to do that. But in terms of being able to land on the moon and step foot, really that was almost like 50-50. We really didn't know if we'd even be able to land, let alone then step out. So it was exciting, but it was really quite nerve-wracking. Okay.
Which rocket did you go on?
I went. It was my second voyage into space, and I went on a rocket called Apollo 11. Yeah, first one I went on was 3 years earlier. I went on one space exploration trip, but this one was rocket Apollo 11, and I went with. There were two other co-pilots I was with. Oh, Nana, you're nodding. Do you know who they are? How do you know, Tom Cow? I'll give you Buzz.
No.
Buzz. Was it Miss Natalie? Do you know his name?
Who Buzz? No, Aldrin?
Buzz Aldrin, yeah, he was one. Now, there was another person as well, and lots of people forget about the third person. There was a third person called Michael Collins, and he didn't come onto the moon, but he was part of the team who went up, and while we were on the moon, me and Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, he was still orbiting the moon in another craft. So he was there, but he didn't actually come onto the moon. Okay. Did you have a question? I think I've maybe forgot what the question was.
What did you feel like when you first stepped on the moon?
Well, I think I've answered that one. Was there another question?
And also, how can
Well, there's lots of questions. Yeah.
how can you become an astronaut?
How can you become an astronaut? It takes quite a long time. For me, I started off when I was younger. When I finished school, I was in the Navy, the US Navy, and I was an officer in the US Navy. And I actually went and fought in the Korean War. Do you know where Korea is?
Yes.
Yeah, so I went and I fought in the Korean War. After that, I went to university, and then I became a test pilot, and I did over 900 test flights. And so you need to show that you are fit and healthy and competent at flying. And once I'd done that, I then got an opportunity to become involved in the US space program, and it was called it a space race, and we were seeing who could get to space first between what was formerly known as the Soviet Union, which was a country, and the US. And then I did that for a few years. We tried to develop something called a space plane, which in the end we didn't develop, but we were working on that. And then eventually I got accepted into NASA, the NASA Academy, and started training towards doing my flights into space. Okay. So if you want to be an astronaut, you need to start flying, girls. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes.
Oh, right.
What is the moon's? What is the moon's surface like?
Have you seen any pictures before?
Yes.
Yeah. What does it look like to you?
It's like rough.
Yes, it's very, very rough. Call them craters. Very rough, like almost like huge mountains. Lots of different sizes. Now, do you know why the surface has all these craters, all these like mountains and rocks? Do you know why it's like that? Why isn't it smooth? Any ideas? Nick? Well done, yeah. Meteorites, because the moon, there's no atmosphere. Meteorites, they will crash into the moon, which causes all of the craters and all of the kind of jagged edges on the moon. So because all these meteorites are hitting you, that's what creates the surface to be so rocky. There's small craters, but there's some really big ones as well. One crater, all the way across from one side to the other, the diameter, 2,500 kilometers. So really, really huge craters. But yeah, it's not smooth at all. It's also very, very dry because there's no liquid water on the moon. So the soil and the surface is very hard and very dry.
When you were on the moon, are you on the moon?
So very good question. Very good. When we first started planning the journey to the moon, a lot of research was done into this, and we knew it was going to be really, really hot. So it's over 90 degrees Celsius on the moon, which is about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Really, really hot. In Thailand, we maybe get 30 or maybe 40 degrees, but over 90 degrees. So we knew it was going to be really hot, and that's why at the start I said I was so nervous, because NASA had developed these new water cooling suits for us to wear. New water cooling suit. And we knew, well, we hoped it would work. We'd done lots of tests back on Earth, but because no one had been to the moon before, we didn't really know if it would work or not. So when we were out there, we were only on the moon for about 2 hours. And the reason for that is because the research we'd done on Earth had shown that the suit would probably last for about 2 hours, and then it would start to get too hot. So that's why we weren't on the moon for that long. And also, it's a reason why on the moon, we didn't walk all over the moon because it was too far. We only walked about 100 meters from where the spaceship landed. We only did 100 meters, and that was because we didn't know what was going to be there. We didn't know if the suit would keep us cool or not. And if it started to make us hot, if we were only 100 meters away, we could get back quite quickly to the spaceship. If we'd gone a long way and suddenly the suit broke or we got too hot, I don't want to be on the moon if it's 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little bit too hot, girls. Okay. Any more questions? No more questions? Wow. Thank you very much. Very, very good question. When did you decide on those questions, girls?
Yes.
Yesterday. Excellent. Excellent question. Would you like to go to the moon?
Yes. But
Yes.
if it's hot, I don't.
It is very hot. You would need one of those suits. I know somebody who lives in Thailand called Mr. Alistair. I know him, and he told me that he doesn't really necessarily want to go to the moon, but he would love to go to space. He would love to go into space and be able to look out the window and look down on Earth. So, if you see Mr. Alistair, maybe you could talk to him about him going to space. Okay.
Maybe we have to bring aircon.
Take some aircon. Well, maybe.
Take some aircon.
Take some aircon because it is very hot. But also, you wouldn't just need fans and aircon. What else did I say the surface was like? There was no water. No, very, very hot and very, very dry. So if you're planning to go to space, girls, you need to do lots of planning. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to head back, and I no longer work at NASA. After I finished the space program, I went and started lecturing at university. But now I'm nearly 80 now, so sometimes I'm not feeling as well. So I might just head home and relax for the afternoon. But thank you very much for having me in. Thank you for your excellent questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was cool.
Thank you.
Bye.